First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, who are teaching this truth in sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim, who's going on the four quarters of the earth, and also at home doing sit downs and try to edify brothers and put lessons together, as we haven't much more time to do this. Well, I'm just going to read quite a few articles, because since the fake-ass Jews explosion in London last night, there's been more so-called terrorism around the world, more false flags, of course, to blame Syria and Iran, as provocation for war. So this also happened. 2 killed as Russian Su-30 jet crashes off Syrian coast. A Russian military jet crashed off coast of Syria's Latakia, killing 2 pilots on board, the Russian Defense Ministry has confirmed. On Thursday morning, a Russian Su-30 went down in the Mediterranean Sea after taking off from the Crimean base. Pilots fought to take the aircraft under control till the last minute, the Russian Defense Ministry said. Both of them died as a result of the incident, so they have a little bit of pictures there. So, again, if the United States wasn't in here, this would not have taken place. But while that happened, some more funny shit here, which we'll get into, because I hate America with a fucking passion. I hate all these Edomites, to be honest with you. But shocking moment. U.S. military spins and crashes into a ground is caught on video. Yeah, because America's a piece of shit. Always has been, always will be, and we can't wait for it to fail at everything it does. So this, I think it's a C-130. Anyhow, here's another false flag that's going on now in North Haven. You know that this is fake, because that's what they want you to believe, is that, explosions during domestic hostage situation in Connecticut. Injures 9 officers. Yeah. This is a Mossad operation. 9 officers were injured after an explosion rocked a house in Connecticut. When police and SWAT officers were negotiating with a man who had taken his wife and family hostage, police also discovered human remains at the site. You can best believe, and they even have it on Hulu now, the whole bullshit March for Their Lives, a whole season of Parkland. As if you didn't know that was bullshit. Multiple officers injured. I saw about 4 police officers being put into ambulance with possible injuries, now being told to take shelter. Fire is still burning. So that's going on here in Babylon the Great. Here's another one. Israelis state hence it can hit Iran's airbase in Syria if it decides to retaliate for the T4 airbase. So again, the least of their flock is drawing them out, and so you got all these things popping off everywhere. Let's just see what else they got down here. Oh yeah, here we go. Hashtag dreams and coffee beans link between a latte and crypto revealed. Yeah, because they're all pushing for this cryptocurrency, which will be controlled. There it is right there. This is what I wanted to get to. While Russia had a little bit of an omen happen, with their jet falling off the Syrian coast, over here in Babylon the Great, a C-130. So I'm trying to pull up this article right now. Of course, like everything else, though, if your shit's old, it really takes forever to download. And plus, that's just Esau being the devil that he is. Let me read something else while that takes forever to load. Alright. Here's another one. Chemical attack provocation with United States participation planned in Syria. Source. Beirut, Sputnik. The tensions in the country have been running high since April, when media accused Damascus of carrying out a chemical attack in the city of Douma, with U.S. launching missile strikes against Syria without waiting for the end of an investigation into the case. U.S. security forces are planning provocations with the use of prohibited substance in Syria. The operation is led by former militant of Islamic State Daesh, which I call it Israeli State, because that's who they're working for. Mishon Ajas Hamash. The aim is to stage a chemical attack against civilians to be further spread in the media, the source told Sputnik. So, again, part of the Syria White Helmets, which we know is a terrorist group. Everybody knows that. According to the source, the preparations began on April 23. The civilians are being shipped to a territory near Jafra oil field to participate in a staged filming of an attack scene, which you know as well as I do that if they could stage something in Syria, don't you think over here where fucking Illuminati Hollywood runs everything, if they can stage this little event such as this so-called hostage situation? Of course they can. They're the 1%. Amalek. Okay, here we go. We got this. U.S. C-130 military cargo plane crashes. 9 feared dead. So, that's a good thing, because America's a piece of shit. An American C-130 military cargo plane with 9 people abroad has crashed in Savannah in Georgia near the airport, causing fire and huge plumes of black smoke. We've confirmed 9 people consisting of 5 crew members and 4 additional passengers were on board. Puerto Rico National Guard spokesman Major Paul Dallon said Wednesday, in which we know that, the deep state runs Puerto Rico. That's why they don't have any power there, because, of course. Earlier that day, officials said 5 people have been on board and all that were killed. So, pretty much all of them died, so that's a good thing. Because we wish nothing but bad omens upon Babylon the Great. Okay. Iran reserves right to respond if U.S. quits GCPOA. So you know as well as I do that, I just talked about it this morning while I was doing a lesson, that pretty much, militants leave South Damascus under deal with government, and so, and also militants surrender area near homes to government. So, all this is going on while, of course, they're trying to provocate war, by stating these false flag events. I read from the Syrian Arab News Agency. Let's see here. Speaker Sabah, Syria can defend its territory. Damascus Syrian Arab News Agency Speaker of People's Assembly Hamad Sabah said that the Turkish military presence in northern Syria represents an aggression and a flagrant violation of international laws, aiding that Syria is a sovereign nation. So, you have Gomer and all his bands there, because that's what it said. We already know about the Russian fire plane being there, but Moscow Sochi Syrian Arab News Agency, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that balancing the U.S. presence east of the Euphrates River threatens the unity of Syrian territory, speaking to Italy's Panorama magazine. Yeah, and you know as well as I do that America's never going to leave. Syrian Arab News Agency camera kept pace with Army's operation against terrorists in Hajar al-Aswad. Terrorist attack on Damascus causes only material damage. So, let's see here. Oh, okay. Well, our people, that's a tribe of Manasseh, Cuba, but that's another reason why they hate Fidel Castro, because he also happens to be allied with Bashar al-Assad. In other words, they see eye to eye on things. Havana, Syrian Arab News Agency, a delegation from the Syrian General Federation of Trade Unions, on Thursday participated in the Solidarity Forum held by Cuba in the framework of its celebration on International Workers' Day. So, Syria delights in their, liberation. So, let's read some more here. Oh, here's another one. Well, you remember how they said that they were going to invade 7 countries? Well, Yemen just happens to be one of them. U.S. Green Berets covertly helping Saudi Arabia in their terrorism against Yemen. So, you heard it first. Well, United States owns Saudi Arabia as well as the Israeli state. So, the whore, Babylon the Great, the least of their flock, the 1%ers are controlling everything. So, here we go. A team of U.S. Army Green Berets have been covertly aiding Saudi Arabian forces in their fight against Yemeni Houthi rebels. And those Houthis, by the way, happen to be allied with Iran. This is really all about a war with Iran, by the way, according to New York Times sources. And that's another reason why they went into Iraq, is because they were a Shia government, in which Shia just happens to be, friendly towards Persia. So that's another reason why, when they created the terrorist group ISIS, that pretty much they created ISIS to also overthrow the Iraqi government of that time, which happened to be Shia-led. Because remember, the Shia leader, who was the leader of Iraq, was overthrown, with ISIS. Well, pretty much it stepped down because ISIS had taken over Iraq. That's why Iraq was attacked, with this false flag terror group. Militants get R&R in U.S. guarded part of southern Syria. And Sergei Lavrov is doing this. A part of southern Syria with the U.S. has seized under its control has become a safe haven for militants, a.k.a. terrorists. The Russian foreign minister said he added that the same militants are preventing humanitarian aid deliveries. So, again, the United States is blocking these others that have been trapped there, from receiving any aid. U.S. must immediately leave area it controls in southern area, Sergei Lavrov went to say. The Americans for a long time have been refusing access to humanitarian aid convoys, claiming that the Syrian government would not give its permission, which we know that's bullshit. This is not true. All the issues the Syrian government and the aid organizations have been settled, he said. In fact, the U.S. would not provide sufficient safety assurances to allow humanitarian access to that camp. So, who's provocating the war? Of course, America, Babylon the Great. And another one from Benjamin, not a Jew. Benjamin, not a Jew, very upset with Iraqi forces capturing Kirkuk, takes action to reclaim oil. Yeah, because we know the Israeli state wants all the goddamn oil. And that's what this is really about. So what's happened is, just like Turkey made their move, a.k.a. Gomer made their move in northern Syria to prevent the Kurdish terrorist group, because that's what Kurds are, by the way, are terrorists. See, look at that piece of shit, goddamn fucking Amalekite, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin, not a Jew, is very upset with Baghdad's decision to drive back pro-Barzani forces, which are terrorists, from the important cities and energy sites in Iraq. 1 week ago, the Iraqi pro-government forces launched a powerful offensive along the entire Kurdish former and northwestern Iraq. So you can best believe that they're going to make attacks against Iraq too, not just Syria and Iran, that they'll make attacks there, Liberating a number of cities and towns and reclaiming pro-Barzani militants from the strategic Kirkuk oil fields and the Mosul Dam. Yeah, because really they want control of all the oil. That's what this war is really about. Perhaps more upset with its outcome that Barzani loyalists in Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin, not a Jew, and the Israeli government on a whole, whose sense of oil security has been somewhat breached. So again, it's really about controlling all the oil, And again, what's happening, though, is that the Israeli head of state is currently lobbying world powers to take action against, this is the leader, Hal al-Abadi's government, and turn back the gains of Iraqi forces. So pretty much, it's going to, lead to more war with Iraq, which, whilst it is unlikely that Baghdad will cease sending oil to Israeli state, the price for its purchase will undoubtedly go up to levels that the Israeli state is traditionally uncomfortable with. So, again, this is really all about the oil. And
first and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai Ba'Shem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And shout out to Yakim that's out there on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. And so here it is, and there's a media blockout on it so far. I already told everyone that expect Syria to be attacked today by the Israeli state. Well, it's already happened. The Syrian defense forces have shot down 2 Israeli missiles in Kawa, which is in the Damascus countryside, and I just got the news feed of that. So 2 missiles have been shot down by the Syrian defense forces. Of course, everything's 11 hours ahead, so that's probably not all the military strikes against Syria right now, but at least 2 missiles have been shot down coming from the Israeli state, as they have threatened to remove Bashar al-Assad to further escalate this war, since Donald Trump has announced today that he is ending the Iran nuclear deal, which was pretty much if they agree to allow inspectors to come in, and I said that they would, say, oh, well, they weren't cooperating with, the inspectors and all that. Well, Benjamin, not a Jew, about a week ago said that Iran lied, so they were going to renege on the deal anyways, because that's what Esau always does. So we know that this war is continuing, so I will keep everyone updated. I just wanted everybody to know, though, that it has happened. Syria has been struck by the Israeli state, because remember, Israeli state has put everybody on alert in Golan Heights to hype up this war, because they were planning to do attacks in Syria from Golan Heights, and that's exactly what's happened here. Shalom.
Hey everybody, my name is Chad Booksam with Alternative Media Television. Welcome to AMTV Live. We have breaking news. Just as Israel discussed just a couple days ago, saying they want to eliminate Bashar al-Assad, that they want to remove and completely shatter the Bashar al-Assad government. What do we have? And this isn't in some Homs province or in a different part of Syria. We have reports of Israeli missiles hitting the capital or near the capital of Damascus. Now, this is happening at a very tense time. Obviously, what has Israel been stating? Israel has been stating that Iran is preparing to strike, that Iran is preparing a retaliation. We haven't seen a retaliation, but now we have Israeli strikes in the capital, surrounding the capital of Damascus, where Bashar al-Assad's army is obviously most well enforced. They're getting closer and closer to do what? What is the agenda? What is the reason for the Iranian nuclear deal being announced that they're going to pull out? What is the reason for all of this happening in the Middle East? Is for Israel to remove Bashar al-Assad for what? To eventually cut off the head of the snake, which they view as Iran. So we have missiles hitting the Damascus region. And again, this is different. This is close to the capital. Now, these reports are just coming in. We don't have any reports of casualties or anything like that yet. But what do we have occurring in the Middle East that's causing all of this to escalate even further and further? Whether it's from the Gaza protests happening throughout Israel, or whether it's the embassy that's going to get moved to Jerusalem very shortly. Now, the Iranian nuclear deal pulling out. We have Benjamin Netanyahu suggesting that Iran has been cheating on the Iranian nuclear program for some time. And now we have missiles attacking near the capital, Damascus. Now, all these news agencies are reporting it. We have Syrian television stating that they shot down 2 of the Israeli missiles. So, what did Russia say they were going to do? Russia said they're going to bring in the S-300 missile defense system into Syria, okay, to help the Bashar al-Assad government survive and to shoot down Israeli missiles. So we don't know if this was from this system, but we do know that Russian forces and Iranian forces are helping the Bashar al-Assad government shoot down missiles that are coming from Israel. Now, I can't repeat how dangerous this situation is. We've been discussing it here at AMTV Media. On AMTV, you've been hearing about this story where? Anywhere else in the media? Anywhere else in alternative news? No, only here. You only get it here because we bring out the truth and we're seeing what's happening. We're seeing what's happening, and it's all going in chronological order. We know the plot. We know the plan. And again, Israel is not going to allow, and they stated this, and I put this up in a video yesterday. You guys can click the video and watch it. They are not going to allow Iran, okay, to operate out of Syria. They have made this absolutely clear. Absolutely clear. And now they're making it even more clear by attacking and having missiles strike south of the capital, Damascus. Now, we have to get exactly what's happening on the ground. We have sources coming in, but they're stating that so far what we're hearing is that Syrian air defenses basically struck a couple missiles coming from Israeli fighter jets. This is what we're hearing. Now, again, a lot of this is coming in pretty quickly. But look at the instability in this region, and what is this going to lead to? Why is this all coming to fruition? Because an all-out war between Israel, the United States, Iran, and Russia has always been playing out. This has been the case. Now, we've seen this time and time again. Before, it was a base, I believe in the Homs province, where multiple Iranian soldiers were killed. Multiple Iranian soldiers were killed. Now, Israel was stating that they bombed this area because Iran had anti-aircraft missiles held up in this region. Now, there's been a lot of reports of these style of weapons. There's been a lot of reports of supposed attacks, like chemical attacks, but there's never what? There's never the key things that you would want to see before a country goes into war. You know what that key thing is? It's called evidence. Evidence. It's never there. Now, again, we have Israel. What have they been stating? We are going to eliminate Bashar al-Assad. People think this is a joke or a game or something. People think that they're lying about it. This is what they've been plotting to do. What do you think is their number one enemy? So you see, they see Iran as extending their influence even further. Whether it's Hezbollah in Lebanon, whether it's their presence in Syria, they are not going to allow it. They're not going to stand for it. We keep bringing this up. We keep repeating it. But now you have Russia, okay, helping the Bashar al-Assad government stay in power and helping the Bashar al-Assad government shoot down missiles that Israel is firing near the capital, Damascus. It's still early reports. And how much closer are they going to get to the presidential palace where Bashar al-Assad is held up? Now, we don't know exactly where his location is. I'm sure he has a well-built bunker somewhere. And what was Israel telling their people? Israel has just stated, look, this is not something that's hidden if you have been tuning in here to AMTV. Yeah, if you've been tuning in to CNN, Fox, or other alternative news sites who are always distracted with just garbage. But what have we been stating? That Israel has closed down the airspace between the Golan Heights, okay, and the Israeli border. For fun? No, for a reason. Preparing an all-out attack. Israel has been stating to their people, okay, to get in your bunkers. The Israeli Defense Forces telling their people that Iran is going to attack to get in your bunkers. Look, and now we have Russia, we have China who are supporting this alliance between Iran, Russia, and the Bashar al-Assad government. You have the United States giving Israel the blessing. We don't know what's going to happen, but this is going to escalate much further. We have Israel threatening to strike the capital of Iran, which is Tehran. Okay, so that's why we keep banging the drums. People say, why do we talk about World War III? Because, look, the entire Middle East is on fire. Multiple countries are at war. That's why you need to be prepared. You need to be smart. You need to have things like survival equipment. You need to have food storage. We have it here in our store. We have 30 and 60-day food storage, 20% off. Click the link below. Go to our store so you can get it and be prepared and be smart, and make sure you tune in here to AMTV to understand what's going on, especially when it comes to geopolitics. We've been right on the money. We've been right on the money because it's obvious, and we've been connecting the dots, and we know our history, and we've been doing this for 10 years. So we always state to be smart, to be prepared, to get ready. And people say, oh, Chad, nothing is going to happen. Look what Israel is doing. As we stated, as I put up in the video previously, they are going to try to eliminate Bashar al-Assad. Russia isn't going to stand for it. Russia is a superpower, a nuclear power. Iran isn't going to stand for it. You think they're just going to, oh, okay, right? After all the fighting that they've done, you think okay, they're just going to give it up and they're going to walk away. No, they're going to fight back. You have a superpower, Russia, who is going to fight back. And who you think we're going to back? We're going to back Russia? Are we going to back Iran? No, we're going to back Israel in this adventure, right? Hence, you have these big powers fighting against each other, and it could spark out of control at any moment. Now, Iran, given the fact that, look, Bashar al-Assad is being threatened, his capital is being threatened, his capital is being hit by Israeli missiles. This is more danger than ever before, and it's more closer to the presidential palace. It's more closer to the government. They want to dismember the Bashar al-Assad government, simple and plain. And we have to sit back and wait to see what Iran is going to do. They're probably already retaliating. We're keeping our eyes on people and witnesses that are on the ground who are reporting what's happening the best that they can. Hey, Alex, what's the time right now in Syria? Let's bring it up on the screen.
Well, it's probably around 11, but let me see.
Because you know when it's okay, so it's 11:40, so it's almost midnight in Syria. Information coming out of there is going to be scarce. Okay, but you have a situation where missiles are hitting south of the capital, Damascus. This is different. This is new. This is much closer to the source, to the core power of Syria, which is the Bashar al-Assad government, and they're striking their army. So obviously this is going to completely spread. You have Hezbollah, who is basically completely dominated Lebanon. They have took power in Lebanon. Hezbollah is aligned and is a proxy of Iran. Okay? And you have Israel threatening not only to attack their proxies in Lebanon or in Syria, but to do what? To strike Tehran. They have been stating this for some time. So we all need to be smart, and we all need to look at what's happening. And again, this is why we've been shouting it out off the rooftops, that the Israeli Defense Forces are planning on attacking Iranian forces, not only in Lebanon, not only in Syria, not only taking out the Bashar al-Assad government, but eventually attacking the capital of Iran, which is Tehran. Okay. Why? I thought peace. Christopher Green was just telling me this. Right, Chris? I thought peace was on the table. This is what they were stating. They know we're going to get peace. We're going to pull out the Iranian nuclear deal. We're going to do something else. We're going to increase sanctions. No, one of the main reasons to pull out of the Iranian nuclear deal is to militarize the agenda. What has been the plan? You take out all these countries. You take out Syria. You take out Iran. You have Saudi Arabia and Israel do this for us. So even though we're not doing it ourselves, even though we're not striking Damascus, mission accomplished, right? Mission accomplished. No, they have the blessing of the United States to do exactly what they're doing. You think that Donald Trump didn't know this strike was going to occur? 100%, regardless if you agree with it or not. We are just stating that it's so dangerous, and the instability throughout the entire region is just going to go overboard. It's going to get worse. It's going to be like a hell week when you have the U.S. Embassy move to Jerusalem. That's why I need to be smart. And again, I'm going to reiterate this and reinforce it, no matter how, probably doesn't sound popular. I'm sure it doesn't sound popular, but it's common sense survival. You need to make sure you do things for you and your family that protect you and your family. So it's information, it's knowledge, it's things like food storage, it's things like bug out bags, it's preparation. You can't rely on the mainstream media for when something hits the fan, it's going to hit the fan, you're not going to know. These trolls are going to scatter, they're not going to know what to do, but the smart person like you are going to click the link below, go to our store and get food storage and preparation equipment. So you're prepared and you think outside the box and you're not part of the sheep. You're not going to get controlled by the wolves. You are a wolf. That's how you want to think, and that's how you want to be. And preparation is key. Again, we have 20% off. Click the link below and get yours today. Now, we're going to keep following this story. I just wanted to provide you guys with an update on it. I'm going to look, see if there's anything else going on before I close out here. Okay, so again, what we're hearing is explosions heard near Damascus, the capital. We have Syrian state TV, as well as other media outlets saying that they have shot down Israeli missiles. Okay? Who is helping them do this? Russia, Iran. We have what else? Bomb shelters are opened in the Golan Heights. Why is the IDF telling their people to go into bomb shelters? For fun? No, because war is on the table and it's going to break out much further. Now we have unusual movement of Iranian forces. This is what's being stated. So this is escalating, and it's actually escalating pretty quickly. I'm going to pull up this article here. Okay, and again, the IDF has instructed their citizens near the Golan Heights and the Israeli border to go into bomb shelters. They have shut down the airspace. A pro-Assad commander said Israeli fighter jets struck a Syria army position south of Damascus. So far, there are no casualties being reported as of yet. And Syrian air defenses fired at 2 Israeli missiles, destroying both. That's what's being reported through Syrian TV. Now, there's no comment right now from Israel because, again, they don't either confirm or deny. But we know where this is coming from. And again, it's on the heels of U.S. President Donald Trump, okay, having that withdrawal from the Iranian nuclear deal. So, look, timing is everything. We've seen this on the table. We're going to keep updating you with the reports. Is there anything else? Hey, Chris, you want to add anything?
No, I think we covered it. We'll just keep everyone updated on reports as things escalate.
Yeah, we're going to keep you guys updated. Chris will update you as well. We're going to keep following the story. I'll be back soon. Again, my name is Chad Booksam with Alternative Media Television. God bless you guys.
Netanyahu and company now stating that they will liquidate Bashir al-Assad and topple his government if they continue to allow Iran to use Syrian territory to carry out attacks on what they say is their Jewish state. Now, there's a lot of back and forth that's been going on for a long time here. When it comes to the battlegrounds, you're talking about truly biblical territory. If you were to see a follow-through on those words, those threats to liquidate Bashir al-Assad, you could very well see the fall of Damascus, which is a marker in time, an event in time, a biblical event that would, once it happens, everyone would know where we sit in that time frame, in that scale. And who do you think would be one of the first ones to do this at this point? Who are the ones launching missiles at them as it is? Trump just did recently. Obviously, Israel has been. And these are the two key factors here. Of course, you have Russia on the other side, and they're saying Iran operating in there. Iran saying that they have an invitation to operate within the borders of Syria. And they're saying that when Trump launched the strike, that many of their people were killed in that strike. Now, we also have talked that this whole deal, this nuclear pact, about to be done with, so to speak, and this is on the heels of Giuliani coming out and stating that Trump is committed to regime change inside of Iran. And even stated that you could expect to see him supporting protesters calling for the ousting of the leaders there here in the near future. That came from Rudy Giuliani. Ladies and gentlemen, the writing is on the wall of how close they are in terms of going to war with Iran. Obviously, Trump, Netanyahu, and all of them in bed together, also in bed with bin Salman, that's running Saudi Arabia, and all of them together not liking Iran on the other side, and of course Iran being backed by Russia, by China, Pakistan, and what was supposed to be a NATO ally, Turkey, which is key in all of this. But at this point, this is some of the latest. Wanted to cover it. A lot more here at this link, which I'll leave below. Make sure to tune in to Underground World News Live Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, Dabu77. Peace.
First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Bashem Rakal Kadash. And a shout out to all Yakim out there that's on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. As we are looking at the headlines here, Salisbury City Center locked down as police investigate a suspicious white powder package. And this is nothing more than bullshit, because we've seen the same thing with the so-called anthrax. Remember Saddam Hussein got accused of anthrax, and then even during the Obama administration, they talked about this white powder packages, aka anthrax. So, it's the same shit over and over again, as if we believe them. Salisbury City was put under lockdown after a suspicious package. So there you go, martial law was declared. Allegedly containing white powder was sent to an office in the Wiltshire city. So you see, they just say bullshit like this just to put you on lockdown to get you in them FEMA camps. Again, we know that that's bullshit. And this is UK, so you know that they're part of the beast system, because they're pretty much controlled by Babylon the Great. So, another thing happening in the UK here. Yeah, this is another Edomite here, since this motherfucker loads. Manchester United legend Alex Ferguson in critical condition after brain surgery. So that Judgment's befalling the UK, which is part of the main three that attacked Syria recently. Pretty much they're getting blowback, but also judgments are coming. They're befalling. Alex Ferguson, the legendary former manager of Manchester United, is in critical condition after undergoing an emergency surgery for a brain hemorrhage, And, of course, we hate you Edomites, and we hope you fucking die, you piece of shit. So, that's going on, and let's see. See if there's some more shit that the Beast and Babylon the Great is doing. So this is in Pakistan here. So Pakistan's... Oh, you piece of shit. Pakistan's interior minister wounded in gun attack. So, we know this is a Mossad operation. Pakistan Interior Minister Ahan Rashan Al-Qadal has been wounded in a gun attack in the eastern region of the central Punjab province, officials told local media. Latkal was shot in the shoulder at an election rally, according to Federal Minister Tabo Chowdhury. So, again, that they're always fucking with Afghanistan, and Pakistan, the whore, Babylon the Great, and, of course, the worst of them, Amalek, which runs Babylon the Great, just can't leave these countries alone, So, Judgment's befalling these places because, well, I'm just going to read these articles, and believe it or not, France just recently had a volcano go off, too. I don't see it as far as a news article I can read, but I'll show you the video I found. But I know you know about this. I mean, I'm sure that you've been watching this throughout the weekend, but I'll try to roll some of the videos. God damn it. Lava outbreak triggers evacuations in Hawaii amid fears of imminent eruption. And people in the vicinity of the Big Island Kalalas crater are being evacuated as lava threatens residential areas, and the most active volcano in Hawaii was disturbed by hundreds of small quakes and started shooting out ash. And you can, of course I have that video. I don't worry a bit too much about it. Even though it says it can't play. There's another one there. You can see that right there. So there's some footages there. But on top of that, powerful 6.9 quake, numerous aftershocks hit Hawaii's Big Island near erupting volcanoes. So there's also volcanic activity. A powerful earthquake measuring magnitude 6.9 has struck just off the Big Island of Hawaii as numerous smaller jolts, including a 5.4 tremor, shock the island the past hours amid ongoing volcanic eruption. So again, this is pretty good, because of course We know that this is Judgement, Befalling, America, Babylon the Great. Now let's take a look at these videos here, if you hadn't seen them.
Toxic gases are spewing from Kilauea volcano on Hawaii's Big Island as new fissures form and thousands are forced to flee. The Hawaii Fire Department on Saturday reported extremely dangerous air quality conditions due to high levels of sulfur dioxide gas in the evacuation area of Leilani Estates. Elderly, young, and people with compromised respiratory systems are especially vulnerable, officials said. Although no fatalities have been reported, officials say lava spurting into residential neighborhoods has destroyed at least 5 homes. Hawaii County spokeswoman Kanani Aiton says 2 of the 8 vents that have formed since Thursday are actively splattering lava. A few others are releasing steam and gas while the oldest of the vents aren't doing anything. She says the vents are flowing a pattern of releasing steam and gas, then splattering lava and then releasing steam again before going quiet. Hawaii County has ordered evacuations for over 1,700 people living in the estate's area in neighboring areas as well. The combination of toxic gas, lava flows, and earthquakes have put residents on edge, and many are being warned the aftershocks could continue for weeks or even months. The lava lake at Kilauea Summit crater dropped significantly, suggesting the magma was moving eastward toward Puna. Officials warn of the dangers of splattering hot rock and high levels of sulfur gas that could threaten the elderly and people with breathing problems. By Saturday afternoon, 8 vents that had spurting lava into the air in Leilani Estates quieted it down and were releasing only steam and gas. But scientists warned more vents would likely form and spit out more lava. Leilani Estates, where lava was pushing through cracks in the earth, has about 1,700 residents in 770 homes. A nearby neighborhood, the Lepuna Gardens, which has a few dozen people, also was evacuated. Kilauea has been continuously erupting since 1983 and is one of the 5 volcanoes that make up the Big Island. Actively picked up earlier this week, indicating possible new lava outbreak. Kilauea hasn't been the kind of volcano that shoots lava from its summit into the sky, causing widespread destruction. It tends to ooze lava from fissures in its sides, which often gives residents at least a few hours warning before it reaches their property.
The prognosis is for this to continue. We see no slowdown in activity. Our seismic and geodetic data coming from the region still indicate magma accumulating. In the Lower East Rift Zone overnight, activity sort of slowed down and died at fissure number 6. And then just before 6 o'clock this morning, we had a pickup in activity at an additional location. So I think we're now up to fissure number 8. The bottom line is that we've got additional outbreaks of lava within Leilani subdivision, just as we anticipated. It's still a fairly low level of lava output, but small lava flows are starting to form and move a few tens of yards away from this active fissure. So moving up to the summit area, as Jessica said, we're continuing to track a drop in the lava level lake. It's been fairly steady over the last couple of days. There's been no acceleration in the lake, in the rate. The lake is still visible to our monitoring web cameras, but it's certainly way out of sight of anyone at the Jagger Overlook. It's not as deep as it has been since the eruption started in 2008, but it's obviously something we're watching carefully. And that's so we should anticipate more felt earthquakes, and some of them can be large and potentially even damaging.
What do you think? Will the activity at Kilauea remain the same or possibly pick up and get even worse in the near future? Leave your comments below this video. Thanks for watching.
And I got more, of course. And this one's from Sputnik. right, and I got another one. Shalom. And this here's from Rupley. Yeah, you could just see that, and here comes a reporter, and he's just all excited about it.
Out here and take a look. The popping has stopped. It's not advancing anymore here. Some cracks in the road, some spatter from the lava. The sulfur smell is not bad at all. It's pretty much non-existent. I think it's because of the way the wind's blowing. Look at this. Look at this. I know. Put your tongue on it and see how hot it is.
Put your tongue on it and see how hot it is. You put your tongue on it. All right, and this one's going to be the one from France. And of course, this is Sputnik News. Very good place besides Press TV and RT. So, as you can see, though, this just reminds me of Matthew chapter 24, so I'm going to pull that out because we can see this. And I just read this today while I was doing a lesson, but this is what fits as what's going on. Starting verse 3 of Matthew chapter 24. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, meaning that they're going to claim that they have the truth, and shall deceive many, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, precisely the time that we're in now. See that you not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. We're seeing that all around. And there shall be famines and pestilences. You're seeing all these places closing down. You know, you're seeing that food banks starting to run out of food, and just pestilence from just not having enough, not being able to make it. And earthquakes in diverse places, and we could consider volcanoes and earthquakes almost the same thing. All these are the beginning of sorrows. They shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Yeah, we of Great Millstone are hated for the name's sake, because we teach the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakal Kadash, and so we're hated of all nations because of this. And then shall many be offended, shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And we're seeing that happen, you know. People have broken off from us and started teaching their own. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. We saw that. We saw the breakup from One West and what became of those other camps. So I hope this has been edifying, and shalom.
So breaking news story again. Let's give you an update if you just joined us, tell you what we're talking about. At least 8 people have reportedly been injured after a van hit people earlier on today on a sidewalk in Toronto. Canadian police say the driver is now in custody. You're seeing this video here. It's the first time I've kind of seen it. It's police cars driving around, etc. Obviously someone on their mobile phone there. Anyway, they say that they haven't the police, immediately been able to identify the guy they've taken into custody or sort out a motive for it. It's believed the driver was armed and rented the van from a local rental company. Authorities have told people to stay well away from that area, obviously. Some subway services in the city have been suspended too, while police try and get a handle on whether this is all over yet. Security has, of course, been stepped up in Toronto. It's currently hosting the G7 summit, as we're saying, so a lot of eyes on security there in that city. But bad news coming through from Toronto there. As soon as we get a handle on whether there have actually been fatalities or not, our correspondent thought there could have been, but very much unconfirmed. We'll let you know. Well, some of the witnesses at that scene claim that they saw the van driving along that sidewalk.
The man was walking through the intersection at Yonge and Kempford. He was just walking, he was in the middle of the intersection, and the van just went right into him, plowed right into him. And then apparently he drove down further, and he went onto the sidewalk by the next building, and he hit more people there and just kept going.
I seen a white van with red coloring on it, and all I saw was that he smashed into someone over there. He just went on the sidewalk. He just started hitting everybody, man. He hit every single person on the sidewalk. Anybody in his way he would hit. The bus stop, everything got shattered. There was a lady in there that I saw. I just stopped and I looked and I went after it again. All I see is just crumbling up, one by one, one by one. One person got dragged on and their blood is all over Yonge and Empress. Is really bad out there, man. I'm so shaky. I'm still dying from this. I can't believe this is happening. This is like unbelievable. This is so unbelievable.
Was he swerving towards?
I just in the Starbucks and saw there's a white truck just go to the sidewalk, and so many people just shouting stop the car, but he didn't. He just keep moving, and he hit some people, and 3 people lie down there and they didn't move at all. I think it's on purpose, because if the car doesn't work, he should like hit the car or something so he can stop, but he just goes through the sidewalk, not the.
Hey everybody, I'm Chad Booksam with Alternative Media Television. Israel has vowed to eliminate Bashar al-Assad if he allows Iran to continue to use Syria basically as what they're viewing as a base to attack Israel. Now, we have interesting things going on in the Middle East where in Lebanon, Hezbollah just won a lot of seats, and actually probably the biggest amount of seats that they've ever had in the country. I find Hezbollah in Lebanon very interesting. Now, a lot of people probably get offended by this, but it reminds me of the Nazi Party. Not that I'm saying that they're Nazis, but what was the Nazi Party in Germany? Basically an armed militia, right? Who actually won through fair elections and became a big influence in German politics before basically they took over the country. Now, Hezbollah, it's very interesting because they are a very well-armed militia. They have won a lot of seats. They have a huge bloc. They're going to be able to influence most of the politics going on in Lebanon. They already do. They are more armed. They are more heavily armed than Lebanon's military. So when I say it's similar to what was happening in Germany during the Nazi Party, that's what I mean, because you have an armed militia who is winning elections. Now, obviously, they have strong ties to Iran. These people were trained by Revolutionary Guards, the most elite armed soldiers in Iran. This is why they're so much better than where you see these little militants running around and scattering in Gaza. Now, Israel is threatening to eliminate Bashar al-Assad from Syria if he continues to allow Iran and Hezbollah to have a presence there. Of course they're going to have a presence there. But what do we see Israel doing? They're the ones killing Iranian soldiers. I haven't seen Iran killing Israeli soldiers, but you know what Israel is doing? They're telling their people that Iran is going to get ready to launch rockets into northern Israel. They haven't done it, but Israel is saying that this is going to happen. And I'm always a little bit skeptical of this because we see all these false flags go around all the time. We see these false flags, whether it's with these chemical attacks, regardless if it's in Syria or if it's in supposed the UK. We remember that with a former Russian spy. And now we see the conditioning of the Israeli people nonstop. I mean, the propaganda in Israel and these news outlets is pretty much how it is like here in the United States, obviously. And look, it's not that Iran isn't a regional threat to Israel and they have these, basically, they're lashing out back and forth verbally. But at the same time, you got to recall this. What Iran really wants is to have their influence. They want their government to survive. They don't want to be taken out by Israel and the United States if there was a full-scale war. That's what would most likely happen unless Russia and China really come together, especially China, not just Russia. Russia would need China to step in, which is probably the greatest fear of this World War III chessboard that we have playing out when it comes to a full-scale war. But what do we see occurring? Iran wants to ensure that they have their influence in Iraq, which they do. Iran wants to continue to ensure that they have their influence in Syria, which they have a huge amount of influence, hence the reason why they're there defending the Bashar al-Assad government. And now look what just happened in Lebanon. What I see happening in Lebanon is basically, right now we have a system that's set in place where, and this is probably going to change, because what's going to occur is similar to what happened in Germany, okay, in the 1930s, where this system is unfair. What's the unfair system in Lebanon? Which, you know, you can argue that it might be unfair, that the president, the prime minister has to be Sunni, okay? That the prime minister has to be Sunni, and he's going to be the one to form the bloc basically regardless. I mean, he only won like 21 seats. This is what we're hearing. And Hezbollah and their allies won almost 50 seats. A huge bloc in parliament, but still you cannot have a Shia prime minister. Now, what's interesting, we recall Saeed Hariri. Remember when he went to Saudi Arabia and then quit? A lot of the people, and then he came back and then he said, no, I reneged that. I'm actually not quitting. A lot of people viewed that as pretty pathetic, kind of like traitorous to an extent. Like, why would you go and pop up in Saudi Arabia acting like you're a Saudi Arabian puppet, okay? Oh, say that you're going to resign, but you do it in Saudi Arabia. That looked as a bad move. I'm sure that hurt him in the elections. But again, Hezbollah is basically primed not to just influence all the policy decisions in Lebanon, but to eventually take it over. And they not only have the political will and the support of the people to do so, but they have the armed militants to do so as well. So Israel views this as a threat, majorly. Israel views what they see is going to be a week of hell with the movement of the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. Israel sees the fact that, oh my God, Iran is right at our doorstep. And what did Israel just say to Lebanon? We are not going to make a difference between the two. So you have foreign ministers, you have ministers in Israel saying, Hezbollah is Lebanon and Lebanon is Hezbollah. So if anything occurs from this territory, from Lebanon, from this country, we are going to act not as if we're attacking Hezbollah, a group. We're going to attack Lebanon because they're one and the same. See, they used to kind of separate the two. But now with the fact that they just gained this majority, basically, this is how a lot of people are going to see it. Even though, look, with the parliamentary bloc that you have in there, there's so many different groups. You have Christians, the Sunnis, you have Druze, you have other little groups, and they've basically been behind Saeed Hariri and probably still has the bigger bloc. But now the influence, the major influence is behind Hezbollah, and you're going to continue to see them grow. Just again, like you've seen in Nazi Germany with the Nazi Party. Now, again, I'm not comparing the ideology the same, but as far as it being a militant group, absolutely, I'm comparing the two to be the same. Now, Donald Trump, obviously, from the presentation given by Benjamin Netanyahu, he's going to pull out of the Iranian nuclear deal. We'll kind of see this already being formed. And we are going to see a either heavy strike coming from Israel in this, because what do you think? You think Iran is going to come and leave Syria? What did Israel just say? That they're going to eliminate Bashar al-Assad. Their influence is growing. Israel is getting angrier. Israel sees this as their opportunity, and they're not going to just continue to strike these forces in Iran, but Iran is going to strike back 100%, absolutely. But we have a situation where not only is Israel going to be striking Syria, Israel is going to be striking Hezbollah in Iran, because now they view it, look, this is it. This is the war that they've been waiting for, basically, eventually till they strike Tehran. And then again, you have Russia and Vladimir Putin, who just basically was inaugurated for another 6 years, and is not going anywhere when it comes to the Middle East and when it comes to pushing it back against, what he sees as U.S. aggression. And look, we're going to stay there. Israel's going to stay there, doing the same exact thing as we've been doing. And the situation just keeps getting escalated. One more thing before I wrap up here. Look, also, we see the South Korea, North Korea deal kind of getting watered down. You see these North Korean politicians basically stating that we don't like how the U.S. is bragging about the deal, that this was all them. Well, first of all, look, and this is what we've been talking about here at AMTV. We wouldn't be bragging about it so much if there really was a deal. Because, we'd like to use this little period of time and we're bragging about it Donald Trump's going to win the Nobel Peace Prize, whatever the case might be, because there probably isn't a deal, or else we wouldn't be talking about it so much. And any deal that occurs is initiated by China, who's in the midst of even consolidating the Korean Peninsula right now. So that's even more dangerous. And watch what China does, okay, if Israel and Iran go to a full-scale war with the backing of Russia. That alliance is the only thing, okay, that can cause the U.S. and Israelis a loss in the Middle East, 100%. Now, make sure you guys have your food storage. Click the link below. Make sure you do common sense things. Make sure you're prepared in life. We have food storage, 30 days, 60 days, 6-month supply. We have bug out bags. We have all sorts of survival equipment in our store. So click the link below. Take advantage. Make sure you're prepared for you and your family. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, my name is Chad. This is AMTV. Hard hitting and in your face. God bless.
Alright, Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the elect brothers out there doing the work of Yahweh Shem Yahushai through the Holy Spirit, Kakwadash. Alright, my name is Amon Gabal, back with another lesson, Lord, want to feed the lambs of Yahushai through the Holy Spirit. Alright, and basically, you know, as you see in the title, you know, this is basically pertaining to the babes, alright, babes in Israel, which babes simply means a baby, alright, and I just want to bring out a couple scriptures, you know, to remind, you know, the babes in Israel to basically, you know, keep it milk, keep it simple, all right, and don't try to get above and beyond your power and your understanding in this truth, because it can mess you up, all right, it can mess you up. So I just want to run through a couple scriptures, Lord willing, to edify the, you know, the brothers out there, you know, to whom it may pertain to. So first scripture I want to get is Isaiah chapter 28, verse 9. It says, "Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast." All right? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Now, who and what is weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast? Babies. All right? Babies are drawn from the breast and weaned from the milk. Okay? That's just how it is. Look at, you know, you take a look at nature. You see that in order for a baby to be nourished properly, he has to have his mother's milk. Right? He or she have to drink of that mother's milk to develop a proper structure, proper brain structure, you know, brain function, bodily structure, bone structure, you know, skin, everything. Everything it starts with the milk. All right, and this truth is likened unto milk. You know, it's likened unto milk and it's likened unto honey. But we're talking about the milk aspect of this truth. All right, so keep in mind that Yahweh Shem Yahushai has said the scriptures that whom shall he teach knowledge and whom shall he make to understand doctrine. All right, so the brothers, you know, out there that's, you know, now coming into this fold, whether it be, you know, a few months, few years, or whatever the case is, you know, hey, the Most High gave you a precious gift, which is to understand this knowledge, this wisdom and understanding. You know, this precious milk, all right, this nutritious milk, all right, that the world cannot, you know, digest. You know, because, hey, this world is lactose intolerant to the milk that Yahweh Shem Yahushai is providing for us brothers. You know, they're lactose intolerant, meaning they cannot tolerate, you know, the lactose or the milk, you know. But for brothers that are understanding this wisdom and this knowledge, the Most High made it where you can digest this milk and you can grow from this milk. So these are the things that you need to know, and these are the things that you need to teach, you know. And it comes to a certain point, of course, you know, in this truth, you grow. You know, of course, you got to level up. You got to step up, you know. But if you're a babe, then you're a babe, you know. Accept the nourishment of this truth as a babe, all right, which is the milk. Teach the milk, you know. Focus on the milk, because at the end of the day, it's the milk scriptures that woke up all of us, man. You know, when we all came in, it was the milk scriptures that got us amped up, that got us hyped up, you know, because, hey, milk is meat to a baby, in other words, all right. You know, it's not physically meat, but that's sufficient enough to be meat for a baby, which is milk. So let me read that again. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. All right, so That's how we must decipher and break down these scriptures through the Holy Spirit, precept upon precept and line upon line. All right, simple as that. You know, if the Spirit is working with you, it's a simple process, man. Just follow instructions, and you know everything will flow according to the Spirit. All right, know your limitations, man. Don't try to go above your means. You know, above your understanding, which I'm gonna get that too. You know, Yahweh will. So it says, for with stammering lips and another tongue he will speak to this people. So let me go from there to Psalms chapter 8 verse 1. All right, a psalm of David to the chief musician upon Gittith, a psalm of David. O Lord, O Yahweh, our power, our Savior, how excellent is thy name in all the earth, which the name is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And that right there is milk. You know, that's milk. That's something you first learn when you wake up to this truth. The name of Yahweh Shai. You know, the name of Yahweh, what it means. All right, the breakdown on the name. You know, those are all milk scriptures, and these are things that brothers got to remember to teach. You know, it says, because remember, you know, people now waking up in, you know, the hopeful elect, the elect brothers now waking up, you know, out of this world into this truth. They need the milk. They need the basic fundamental understandings of this truth in order to grow, in order to know what's going on. You know, you can't come with no crazy breakdown and expect, you know, a potential, you know, elect member to just get it like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to feed that brother with the milk. That's why milk is important. You know, there's nothing to prove. There's nothing to, you know, well, scripture say prove yourself. But as far as, you know, trying to look like the big shot or whatever the case is, there's no glory in that, man. This is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's program. This is his will. This is his words. You know, no matter how you slice it and dice it, however it come out, the Most High is making it, you know, come out that way. So verse 2 says, out of the mouth of babes and suckling hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightest still have enemy and the avenger. All right, so it says, out of the mouth of babes and suckling. All right, out of the mouth of babes and suckling hast thou ordained strength. Right, now how did the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, ordain that strength? All right, out of the mouth of babes, you know, and suckling is by giving, like we just read in Isaiah 28 and 9. All right, by giving the men to understand the doctrine and the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, which came by the way of milk. All right, so that's strength, that's power right there, man. You know, and that's powerful enough to bring this kingdom down, man. You know, letting Esau, letting these Edomites know who they are, letting them know their future is slavery. You know, getting into the color scriptures. You know, getting into salvation scriptures. You know, those, you know, destruction of America. You know, those are milk scriptures, man. You know, those are the things that are, you know, essential, you know, and prominent for this, you know, salvation and to wake up the elect. All right, now the meat, which I'm gonna get that too. That was in Psalms 8 and 2. That was in Psalms 8 and 2. So let me get the scripture right here. This is 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. It says, wherefore laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. Now, you got to desire that milk, man. You got to desire that milk, because when you teach the milk, you learn the milk, man. You know, a good way of learning something is by teaching something, man. You know, repetition, because when you teach something, you're repeating something you learned, and then you're going to repeat it, and as you're repeating it, it's coming right back to you again. You know, so desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby, and that's how you grow, by teaching that milk to the point that milk becomes like this, easy. You know, you know that milk, scriptures, you know the milk understanding at the back, you know, like the back of your hand, so to speak. All right, that's how you're supposed to desire that milk, because the milk is what gives you that strength. It's the foundation. All right, you're not gonna feed a newborn baby some pepper steak or some oxtail. All right, they'll choke and they'll die. All right, so the word is the same way. You're choking, you'll die if you're a babe, and you're trying to break down meat scriptures, and you're trying to understand meat scriptures that's not meant for you to understand at that present time. All right. All right, I got another precept that I called, came to mind. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 5. I started 12. I start at 11. It says, of whom, I start at 12. It says, for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracle of the Most High, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. Let me read that again, and I'm going to read it slowly. It says, for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracle of the Most High. All right, because when we came into the truth, we had to be taught. All right, scriptures tell you that in I can't remember what it's at the top, but that faith cometh by hearing. I believe is Romans. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing the word of the Most High. All right, so we had to be taught this word in order to understand it. And the apostles, from Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rakar, Apostle Ramlab, they didn't come with us with some heavy meat. All right, simple breakdowns. Like Job 9:24, when a lot of us brothers first came in. When the elder apostles went on YouTube, those were some deep scriptures to us, man. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Those were deep. All right, those were deep, and it opened it shed whole new light on the perspective of the so-called white man and how much he directly, connects with the scriptures and so on and so forth, man. These are the things that you got to remember, man. The milk, Job 9:24. All right, ain't nobody ever too good to bring out those scriptures, man, because these are powerful scriptures, man. These are very powerful scriptures. The milk scriptures let you know who the devil is. The milk scriptures let you know who the Israelites are. The milk scriptures let you know that America's going to be destroyed, man. Keep that in mind. Right? So it says, for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracle of the Most High. That's the first principles, the principles of the oracle of the Most High. That's the foundation of the word of the Most High that you must be taught. All right? It says, and are become such as have need of milk. So you become one that needs that milk. Once you remember, this truth is like being born again. All right? When you wake up to the truth, you're born again. All right? And when a baby is born, or actual babies born into this world, they're born. All right? And what's the first thing they need? That mother's milk. All right? The minute they step out into this world, they need that mother's milk. So the minute we step into this world of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, this truth, we need that father's milk, man. All right? That knowledge, that wisdom, that understanding. All right? The milk, the basics, to help us grow. So that, in due time, you'll be able to start chewing, some meat, and then eventually you just be devouring meat like it's nothing, man. Like the aged men in this truth, the apostles, elders, and the up and coming elders, all right, and brothers, up and coming brothers, okay. Hebrews 5:13. For one that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. All right, so for babes, newcomers in this truth, you're unskillful in the word in the sense that a skill is a practice that take much repetition. It takes like the word itself, skill. It takes skill. It takes years and years of practice, perfection, trial and error. All right, that's where skills come into play. But if you're using milk, you haven't really gone through these things yet, man. And it's okay, because really, scriptures say the race is not for the swift, man, but for he that endureth unto the end. There's gonna be brothers that come in, hey, by the grace of the Most High, just like that, right before the destruction happened, and they barely broke down any major scriptures, man. The Most High can have it like that, man. So just always keep that in mind, man. For everyone that useth milk, meaning the babes, are unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he's a babe. All right, doesn't mean you don't know anything. Of course it don't mean that, man. You know a lot more than any of the top people in this world. These men of high esteem and mighty and all that. We know more than these people, man. So appreciate this milk that we have, and don't neglect that milk. All right, build your bones up, build yourself up first, and then in due time you'll be ready to move on. The babies don't have teeth when they on that milk, man. And you need teeth, those canine teeth they call them, to devour that meat. So develop yourself, man. All right, Hebrews 5:14, the last verse in this chapter says, but strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. Now, in a nutshell, that's straight up talking about the men that have labored in this truth for a long period of time. All right, starting with the apostles of Great Millstone. All right, and then the elders of Great Millstone, man. All right, and then the up and coming elders that are now, tasting, what it is to actually be chomping on that meat, man. All right, so strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age. Now the apostles are of full age, hands down. All right, hands down. All right, and then the orders come in. Okay, it says, and even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. All right, now when you exercise something, means to try out something, man. Now through the Spirit of the Lord, the apostles and the elders, starting with Apostle Tahar, have been tried out in many different things. Have been tried out for years, for decades, man. All right, they've learned, they know, they've seen the BS, they seen the righteous, they seen everything, man. They seen it all, man. And then through the Spirit, man, we're thankful, to have those men in our lives through the Spirit of the Lord, to teach us what they know. To teach us what they know, and don't take that for granted, man. So they have their senses exercised, and they know how to discern good and evil, man, through the Spirit of the Lord. All right, and that's a skill that comes with time. All right, that's not something you rush. All right, so we ain't rushing that, man. We ain't rushing that, man. If you on the milk, you on the milk. All right, just keep it that way. All right. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 3, verse 21. No, I started 18. The greater thou art, the more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before the Lord. Many are in high places and of renown, but mysteries are revealed unto the meek. Like I mentioned earlier, the brothers that have this milk, the babes in this truth that have this milk, man, a lot more than these men in this world that are renowned. These so-called Einstein cats and these top scholars and, famous people, way more than them. Because the scriptures say the mysteries are revealed to the meek. Now, the men of the Lord, us hopeful brothers, we're meek. We're considered meek. We're the lowly. All right, we're the lowly. That's why people, when we bring out this word, we preach to them and we bring out what we know, they look down upon you like you don't know what you're talking about, because the Most High chose the meek. Now, if these top scholars in this world were bringing out the same knowledge we was bringing out, guess what? The whole world will be listening to them, man. The whole entire world will be following them because they're men of renown. But the Most High chose the people of meek, of low social status, so to speak, man. All right, for His purpose and to show His power. All right. So verse 20 says, "For the power of the Lord is great, and He is honored of the lowly." Right, the lowly is gonna honor the Most High, not these Jay-Z's, Kanye West, and all these other cats, man. They care about money. They worshiping mammon. All right, we worshiping the Most High. All right, so that we're going to honor the Most High. Verse 21, it says, "Seek not out the things that are too hard for thee, neither search the things that are above thy strength." All right, which goes into the meat. All right, so don't be seeking out the things that are too hard for you, man. All right, don't be trying to, if you know you a babe in this truth, man, you on that milk, stay on the milk, man. Don't go trying to eat no meat, and before you, next thing you know, you end up choking and dying. In other words, you end up diving into something you got no business diving into, and ended up bugging out, and falling out the truth. All right. It says, "Neither search the things that are above thy strength, but what is commanded thee. Think thereupon it with reverence." All right. So the Most High said, scriptures say, don't seek out them things that are hard for you, but seek out the things that are commanded of thee, man. All right. And in this particular case, the babes, seek out the milk, man, that is commanded of you to seek out. All right. And think thereupon it with reverence, for it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret. Now, certain things are in secret until the Most High reveal to you. Certain meat is in secret until the Most High decides to reveal it unto you, okay? And it says, "Be not curious in unnecessary matter, for more things are shewed unto thee than men understand." All right, so, don't be curious in things that are unnecessary, man. Things that are just going to minister questions and have you, sidetracked from the main thing. Don't worry about that, man. All right? Because the scriptures say, "For more things are shown unto you than men can understand." So that milk is more than these people can understand. All right? That milk is more than, I don't really know much of these famous, renowned superpower people, but like Einstein, your your idols of this world, people that people look up to for knowledge and reverence, the milk is too far above their comprehension, all right? So just keep in mind, man, stay on the milk. Stick with the milk. Don't teach nothing that you got no business teaching. Don't teach nothing you don't understand. Keep it simple, right? Like they got a acronym, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. All right, keep it simple, stupid. All right, not calling nobody stupid, but it's just an acronym that they teach you in school to just keep shit simple, man. All right, but anyway, I'm gonna end it on that. All right, and Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson to the brothers that watched. And until next time, I say shalom to the elect. Shalom.
From interfering in U.S. elections.
Thank you, Senator. This is one of my top priorities in 2018, is to get this right.
Hey everybody, I'm Chad Booksam with Alternative Media Television. I'm going to read a report coming out about Facebook. Basically what they want to do is suppress any conservative voice or independent voice, and they want to make free thought a crime pretty much. But Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg said Tuesday that the company had already begun to implement a system that ranks news organizations based on trustworthiness and promotes or suppresses its content based on that metric. Now, who's deciding that metric? These radical leftists in Silicon Valley, the establishment, the people who think it's a crime if you don't think the way they think, all right? And he's saying what they're doing is that they are putting, quote, we put that data into the system to suppress conservative, independent, anybody who doesn't think like them. We put it into the system and it's acting as a boost or a suppression, and we're going to dial up the intensity over time. Now, they had a meeting between Zuckerberg, Facebook, and guess who? The New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, all of these fake stream news networks. They're the ones who are going to decide what's fake and what's real. Okay. Now, Zuckerberg said that the company will invest billions of dollars in a combination of artificial intelligence, AI and algorithms, and tens of thousands of human moderators, an army of snowflakes, to keep both fake news and deliberate propaganda at bay, especially in elections. So they're going to rig the elections. This is what they're stating, and this is being allowed. Do you see why we need a new platform? Do you see why we've been promoting new platforms based off blockchain technology? Christopher saw this coming a long time ago. This is why we want to be able to go on to new platforms and why we created our own on amtvmedia.com. Click the link below and join the underground. Think about what's happening. They are shutting us down. We've already seen this, every social media outlet begin this, adventure, this new world order adventure, where they just want one ideology. Now Facebook is going to have an army of snowflakes, and they are going to suppress content and only let CNN and these other radical leftist news organizations dictate everything, especially in elections.
From interfering in U.S. elections.
This is one of my top priorities in 2018, is to get this right.
So that's it. You see what happened in 2016? Where we were able to speak our mind, we were able to fight back against the establishment. That is gone. Unless we support new alternative platforms backed up by new technology, blockchain technology. And you need to understand this technology. And that's what we've been promoting here at amtvmedia.com. You need to click the link below and join the Bitcoin Crypto Academy, because it's not just about Bitcoin. It's not just about currency. It's not just about that. You need to wake up. It's about blockchain technology, and that's the future for us. We can't keep playing in this arena because they're shutting us down. Again, click the link below and join us. This is it. We have a coup on free thinking. This is what just occurred. A coup on free thinking. And it's going to go beyond this. We're going to trust them to tell us what's real and what's not. When they lie to us on a daily basis, we were born, since we were born, and people have noticed this, that something isn't right, that they've been lying to us. Since we popped out of the womb, they've been lying to us, and they've always had us in this societal propaganda bubble to control the way we think, to control who's the enemy and who's not, to basically completely rip up this country. Now, what do we have occurring, especially when we got into the 2000s and when Silicon Valley really became the social media dictators of the world? The moral structure in this country has been destroyed. The family structure. People don't even believe in God anymore. And this whole country is radicalized. and they're so offended by everything. Now Facebook is going to make it worse. All the other social media outlets are going to make it worse. Everybody's so offended by everything. All of these little microaggressions. You can't say anything anymore. And Facebook is going to hire an army of snowflakes who basically look to get offended. They're going to be looking at every little post you do. Now, there was something that they tested it out. You probably seen it on your own post on Facebook. When you put up a post, there was a little disclaimer at the bottom that said, "Is this hate speech? Is this hate speech?" So if somebody disagrees with you, they're going to say it's hate speech. And then the moderators and the algorithm is going to suppress you and put you in a dark corner. Thumb up this video right now. Share it with everybody. Share it with your family, with your friends, with everybody. Thumb up this video so we can break through this suppression, so we can break through this wall. We don't have much time left. And, a lot of other alternative media sites, you know what they're doing? They're saying, okay, we're just going to ride this wagon until it blows up. You know what we're doing here? We have already transferred to other alternative platforms that are backed up by blockchain technology. Again, that's why that's the future. Again, that's why you need to click the link below and join the Bitcoin Crypto Blockchain Academy. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to give you $50 off right now when you put in the promo code SAVE50. We're going to give you $50 off. You need to do it now to understand what's happening and to understand blockchain technology and how conservatives, independents, everybody who's a free thinker, you need to transfer to these platforms. You need to join us. You need to join the underground. See, they're completely controlling us now. This future that we've always talked about, that people like Bill Cooper has talked about in the past, this is what's happening now. Then it's going to be a crime for free thinkers. So they're suppressing us, they're shutting us down now, and they're going to put you in a dark corner. Censorship, New World Order censorship, and then it's going to lead to a crime, okay? That's why we built an underground. We call it the Underground Railroad. Click the link below and join it for free thinkers, for people who've woken up to this and seen that, you know what, something isn't right. Everything that they splash on the TV screen since I was little is a lie. This is your time right now. Don't wait one more second.
First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are teaching us truth and sincerity. And shout out to Yakim that's out there on the four quarters of the earth. Going into places, such as, Great Millstone, Hawaii camp, quite simply put, or Great Millstone in Houston, during these bigger events, which we can see, though, that over the weekend, of course, the GMS Hawaii camp is obviously not on that particular island, but it's still in the Hawaii area nonetheless, though. So, most likely, well, you would think, though, that people would be flocking to them in the day of this because, we're seeing it. Earthquakes in diverse places, wars, rumors of wars, famines and pestilence. It's all around. Behind me is what used to be known as the Sunset Plaza, which was the last stop you would make here on your way to Old Shasta and up into the mountains to go to either Whiskey Town or to go to the coast. This would be your last stop, or it'd be your first stop coming back. But this is now no longer, pretty much it's been closed, and we already know about Sears and Kmart out of business, Radio Shack and many others, McMahon's Furniture, Montgomery Ward, Circuit City, on a downward spiral. And now 500 more stores closed down of the subway, but also, just downsides. Your town may only have one left of that. This place used to have like 4 or 5 holidays, but now it's just reduced to, I believe, 2 now. So that's a big time downsides. There's the holiday down the road here, and then there's one more on the other side of town over on Victor. So yeah, this Sunset Plaza closed some time ago. Obviously, I just didn't discover that until more recently when I tried to look for the recycling center. So things are taking place. We know that the tariffs are about to hit, and we know that not only did Hawaii see volcanic activity, but also France. And isn't that interesting, though, that both of those places are places that just struck Syria recently, So Judgement is befalling Edom, the places of Edom, because they were both Edomite places.
So we're seeing it right there. So I can't think of any better scriptures than the ones that Yahushua spoke. You know, so I'm going to read out of Matthew chapter 24, starting in verse 3. And as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered, said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. You know, there's a lot of deceptors out here, you know, if you will, Decepticons, Pastor Dow, a whole bunch of them telling you that Esau's not the so-called white man, when we know that he is. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many. You shall hear wars, rumors of wars, and see ye not be troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And so end hasn't happened yet, because we're going to be going through Jacob's trouble. And part of Jacob's trouble, of course, is the mark of the beast, the push for that. And we can see people willingly getting the mark of the beast. It was just on RT. You know, this other person thought that he'd stop hackers, so he got himself a microchip. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. You know, there's wars everywhere. You know, and there shall be famine and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. And we saw that over the weekend, you know, both Hawaii and France. All these are the beginning of sorrows. They shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Yeah, we are hated more than anyone else, you know, because we're the ones that are prophesying the downfall of this place, and Esau doesn't want to lose this place, you know, but he is losing his grip. Stretched Christianity has been disproved on so many levels. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and deceive many. You know, you got ISUPK, IUIC. They were in the truth. They came from One West, but now they're teaching another gospel. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's what happened. They waxed cold. Now they're teaching another doctrine. You know, they're not teaching that the mark of the beast is the RFID implant. They're teaching you that it was just Christianity. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So you know as well as I do that you have to endure this thing to the very end, no matter how hard it is, you know. And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached unto all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end shall come. That's what we're doing here right now. We're prophesying the end to come, and we're seeing judgment befall all these wicked nations, you know, because the Most High have spoken these things, you know, a long time ago, and like I said before, you know, we're just here rehearsing scripts, you know. The prophets of old are coming out and prophesying the downfall of this place, because that's what we did before when Jerusalem was about to fall, you know, when we fell as a nation and we had to flee because the abomination of desolation had taken place when they had brought pork into the temple, you know, and they started eating defiled things and then started worshiping other gods. That was the abomination of desolation. So we fled into the Sahara deserts. That's the mountains that we told to flee into. So Jerusalem was captured in 70 AD. And we have not returned since then, you know. And you got those Amalekites pretending that they are Jews. But, you know, the rest of the world, well, they believe all that because, of course, they were part of the deception, you know. Psalms 83, you know, all those nations, including Syria, had conspired that we would go into slavery and we would no longer remember that we were Israelites, you know. This is the only captivity that we served where we didn't know that we was Israelites. But now, the Most High has raised up his prophets to tell everybody, blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and the confusion that face to be amongst us are the real Israelites, you know. And it's time to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, because he's getting ready to judge all the nations. All these nations are gathered into the valley of Yehoshaphat. You know, that's why they can't leave Iraq, Iran, or Syria alone, or Yemen, or any of them places. You know, the 7 nations that America was going to invade, you know, when they did the false flag of 9/11, that they would invade all 7 of them countries. And we can see that all 7 of them countries have befallen, you know, leaving Iran for the last, you know. And so all these other countries have been attacked, but they're about to attack Iran, you know, about to call for regime change in Iraq, Syria, in Iran. And, you
Donald Trump's going to try to sell the war because that's what he was here to do, is to further the war, to sell the war, And of course, we know the drafts are going to be coming out, and, the funny thing is, though, is that at the same time, though, they've been using their weather machine, their HARP. That's what brought the judgments of Houston, When Houston was hit with that hurricane, we know that it was the weather machine. They show you the shit in the other sci-fi shows, like $6 Million Man, Bionic Woman, that, they were showing you HARP. They show you this stuff in pre-programming, And so when you see it, the reason why they do that, it's a Hegelian dialect, so that way, you just watch too many shows, so they just put the truth right out there in the open, but, they'll just tell you saw too many shows. It's all part of the mind fuck, the witchcraft. And we know that Christianity has been witchcraft amongst our people because, of course, you have the false image, Cesare Borgia, and then you have pretty much what they've done is catfished us with a fake image, because that's not the true image of the Most High, and yet have changed his name to a Greek name. He didn't speak Greek, he spoke Hebrew. And I know that the argument's to say, well, Paul the Apostle, yes, he spoke in Greek, but he also spoke in Hebrew. That's what speaking in tongues is. He knew more than just one tongue, because obviously he had traveled to all these places, so he knew how to speak in their tongue, And so, you got these other false prophets out there, going and saying, though, that not all Edomites are going to be destroyed, that, if you're basically good, you can become spiritual Israel. This is all deception. Many false prophets will come saying that I am Hamashiach, which basically means that I have this truth, They claim to have this truth, but they really fell out of this truth. They became reprobates, because being a reprobate is when you get turned over to that mindset is because you've gone off on the philosophies to where it's gotten to a point that the Most High has spewed you out. That's what we don't want to be is spewed out, So use this time while you can to go out and proclaim this truth. As more places keep getting shut down, eventually, we know that the economic crash is coming and that they're going to deliver many people up to be killed. Just for refusing that mark, or just simply because you speak the truth, that there's truth in this, so you'll know who spoke the truth and who was a liar. So I hope this has all been edifying like everything else, though, man. This is the exciting times. Seeing the judgments befall America, seeing the judgments befall Esau, Edom. Shalom.
Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1563A and today's date is May 8th, 2018 and the title of the episode is Banks Are Preparing for an Economic Catastrophe. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now we're starting to realize, and we knew this was happening, that more and more countries, they're moving away from the dollar. I mean, China's been doing it, Russia's been doing it, Venezuela created their own cryptocurrency, the petros, and we see that other countries, they're moving towards a different currency. Iran has done this, they moved away from the dollar, and we're starting to see that countries are starting to talk to each other, and they're using the blockchain to get around sanctions, to deal outside of the dollar. And we're seeing that there was a meeting between the leaders of Venezuela and Palestine, And they decided that they're going to create a binational bank to fund infrastructure, technology, industry between the two countries. The bank will be started off with 20 million Venezuelan petros, and it looks like they're going to be using cryptocurrencies to do this. And we're going to see a lot more countries start to do this. We know that Russia is looking at the blockchain, China's looking at the blockchain, and basically the central bankers are sitting there scratching their heads saying, we cannot let this happen. We need to stop this. This is why they created the futures market in Bitcoin. The same thing that they've done with the precious metals market. They created the futures market. It's all paper, and they're able to basically control the price by selling a lot of this paper, and they're able to bring this price down. They're also using the Mt. Gox proceeds, and they're using those funds to bring down Bitcoin when they sell a lot of them. And they're using all of this to try to control Bitcoin and make it look like it's very volatile. It's not safe. You shouldn't be in it. It's like gambling, and the central bankers are trying to protect you. We already see that the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, they released an economic letter on May 7th suggesting that Bitcoin's decline following its $20,000 peak was a result of the launch of Bitcoin futures trading. Not necessarily, because as we can see on the graph, it was really brought down by those individuals selling all of those Bitcoins from Mt. Gox. And each time they sold it, the price came down. And this is basically what they've done. Now they're going to try to control the cryptocurrency market with the Bitcoin futures, and this is why they created it. And this is what they do all the time. They use paper to control precious metals, paper to control the cryptocurrency. But when all is said and done, it doesn't mean they're going to be able to control it, because, again, this is decentralized. It's out of their reach, and they're only using it with Bitcoin. There's many other cryptocurrencies out there. And if people decide not to go with Bitcoin and dump it and go with something else, guess what? They're in trouble, especially with the atomic swaps, where where people are able to swap different crypto coins with each other, and they don't have to worry about it. It might not be that big of a deal. But we can see right now that they're pushing their agenda because they want to control this area. They want to make sure that they force people away from it, and they are trying to figure out a way to stop what is happening. And more countries are looking at this. More and more investors are looking at this. And their biggest fear right now is the exchanges. Now, right now, they're centralized. They can control them, just like they had Coinbase, where they said, listen, you need to hand over all those individuals that receive funds of $20,000 or above. We need to tax these individuals. What they're trying to counter is the decentralization of the exchanges, where they will not have any control whatsoever. Remember, the central bank system, since they create this currency with a push of a button, it's not like Bitcoin. It takes a lot of processing power, a lot of time to create the cryptocurrency. The central bankers, they have the ability just to push the button and it's just created. There's no hard work involved whatsoever. And what we know is that they lend this currency they create out of thin air to governments. And the governments have to pay it back. Actually, the people have to pay it back. So there's interest attached with this. And the only way to pay this back is with taxes, because they need to collect the money from the people of every single country to pay back the Federal Reserve note. And this is how they enslave the people. If the cryptocurrency system moves forward and there's decentralized exchanges, there's no taxes. How do they tax something like this? Yes, they could create a worldwide tax, but again, they would have to get a lot of countries involved in this, and there are many countries saying that we don't want to be involved in this. And this is a lot harder to do than having each country tax their own people instead of having a worldwide tax. So they're afraid of this, and they're trying to stop this before this becomes a reality. And if you want to know more about cryptocurrency, I do believe that cryptocurrency is basically just like the internet. This is the very early stages. Nobody really understands what it's all about. And people are starting to catch on now, starting to realize what this really is. And we can see that there's a company that is creating like a little credit card that will hold your Bitcoin. It's like an offline wallet. And this is just the beginning. And if you want to learn more, you can go to the x22reportschool.com and you can join up to the school there and you can learn about cryptocurrencies. Or if you're already dealing with cryptocurrencies, you want to learn how to trade it, what are good investments, how to make money from it, just go to the trading room. You're going to watch experienced traders trade. They basically figure everything out for you. They say, this is what we are doing, and you can follow along with that. So it's x22reportschool.com, and all you need to do is go to the website and you can learn all about it. Now, we see that job openings, they have soared by 472,000 to an all-time high of 6.6 million. Now, what's very interesting about all of this, and this is coming from the U.S. labor market JOLTS report, where they're saying that job openings, they're just skyrocketing. Now, we're way, way above where we were back in 2006, 2007 with job openings. So what this report is trying to tell us is that we have so many job openings out there, we just don't have enough people to fill them. We've created so much business. Corporations, they're just opening offices all over the place. Retail corporate offices are opening all over the place, and we just don't have enough people to fill these positions. Actually, the opposite's happening right now. Corporations, they're really not hiring right now. They're buying back their stocks, profits aren't coming in, and they're laying off. Retail, the corporate offices are closing. People are getting laid off left and right. Stores are closing, which means more and more people are being laid off. So where are all these jobs coming from? Again, a lot of corporations, what they do is they keep their open recs, and from the top corporate offices, they tell them, listen, do not fill these positions, but we will leave the open recs. And we could see this is what is happening right now. Now, if we look at what happened prior to 2008, we saw we hit a plateau with job hires, and all of a sudden, in 2007, we started to decline. The same thing is happening here in 2018. We are now declining in job hires. And job openings, job hires, they're going to start to decline rapidly. And basically, once we started this little bit of a decline in 2007 and we moved into 2008, boy, did things ramp up and we accelerated to the downside. And this is what we're seeing right now. We're at the plateau and we're going to see this whole thing completely fall apart. We also see that TD's Ameritrade's Investor Movement Index dropped another 8.2% in April after plunging 12% in March, 23% in February. This is the biggest month-over-month plunge in the history of the index. Now, when we look at the graph, we can see that normally we didn't get over 6 on the index. And all of a sudden, with the Trump spike, when he was elected, we moved all the way up close to 8.5. And then we took the elevator down to about 4.5. So something is going on here. And remember, a lot of these statistics are manipulated to make us think that things are doing a lot better than they really are. But when we get down to the nitty gritty, we can see that housing, well, that's falling apart. The prices aren't as high as everyone believes they are. Yes, maybe in the 20 cities we see out in Canada, the housing bubble is popping. Australia, the housing bubble is popping. We see it across Europe. And this is going to start to accelerate. Now, if you're not seeing it in your area, eventually it will hit. Remember, prior to 2008, Miami, the Florida region, they were seeing a boom in construction. Speculators all over the place. Up in the Northeast, what was happening was the traffic was drying up. Now, there was a 6-month or 8-month lag before Florida even saw any of this. And when they did, they were hit really, really hard. Everything came to a screeching halt. All building came to a screeching halt, and nobody was purchasing anything. And then all of a sudden, there were foreclosures. A lot of people were underwater. There were a lot of short sales, and everything just started to fall apart. And with these 20 cities, outside of the 20 cities, we can see that traffic is not the way it used to be. We see that mortgage rates are rising, kicking more and more individuals out of the market. So we see that things are rapidly changing right now, especially in Canada. That is going to spread all over the place, and this is just the beginning. We see that banks, they are preparing for an economic catastrophe. Now, we talked about Deutsche Bank before, where they were going to lay off about 10%. And they decided, you know something, 10% is not enough. We're going to raise this to 20%. And it looks like they're closing some offices here in the United States. And I believe what's going to happen here is a lot of banks are going to do the same exact thing. They are going to basically shut down many offices, lay off a lot of people to get ahead of what is about to happen, and that is an economic catastrophe. And we might even see these numbers even increase more so than they are right now. They might even go up to 25-30%. We saw this back in 2008, where all of a sudden everyone had a job, everything was fine. All of a sudden the market came down, and the companies were out there saying, hey, we're just going to lay off thousands of people. And you don't think the same thing is going to happen once again? I mean, these corporations, their profits, they're not making any. They're buying back their stocks. Retail corporations going out of business like crazy. A huge amount of space from retail is opening up. The housing bubble is popping. The rest of these statistics, the unemployment, the GDP, and everything else, they're completely fake, phony, and false. So basically, we're at that point right now where everything is starting to turn down, where we hit the plateau, we're coming over the plateau, and now we're declining, and we're going to see things rapidly fall apart. Trump and the Patriots, they know this. The central bankers know this. They know their illusion would only last for a certain period of time before everything started to fall apart by itself. And again, the central bankers would like to bring the economy down and control it. So with the Patriots, and we can see right now they're both trying to gain the narrative while the whole entire thing falls apart. This is why you need to be prepared and ready, because we are headed towards a transition. And as you can see, all these things are indicators letting us know that everything is falling apart, everything is declining, and we're going to see a lot more of this, especially when we move throughout this year. We're going to see a lot more completely come apart at the seams, and people are going to start to scratch their heads and wonder what is going on. And we're going to see a lot more banks come out and say, listen, we're going to have to restructure. That's the word they like to use. We're going to have to restructure and lay off certain individuals, especially when the Fed has been telling us how great the banks are doing, but they all have to restructure now, which makes no sense, of course. But this is the excuse they're going to use, because what they're really doing is they're preparing for this economic catastrophe. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.